All right, guys. Today we got this 2005 Porsche Cayenne. It's going to be a tips and tricks video. I'm not going to include the whole R&R procedure. I'm not even going to show you me pulling it out. I'm just going to give you tips and tricks on how I got it out. My biggest first tip is, if you have the option, don't do it. Just tell them no. $1 million, I wouldn't do this again. I'm lying, I would. But I wouldn't enjoy it. Not at all. So I was able to get the tranny out without pulling a motor. Torque converter bolts were the hard part. They're triple square 12. Pretty sure there's 6 of them. It's ridiculous. So, there might just be 4, but still. It's the hardest torque converter I've ever removed. Hopefully this video is helpful, give you some tips and tricks, and show you what it took me to get it out. It wasn't easy. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, I'm working on this Porsche. It's a turbo. 4 something. When I was trying to take the torque converter bolts out, my socket got stuck. It got stuck right behind the flywheel right there. And I couldn't move the flywheel around without damaging the motor. So I had to pull this unit with the torque converter still in. This is an Asian Warner. Somebody put a junkyard unit in it and it's leaking out of the front. I just want to show you, you can get it out without pulling the motor. That's because the torque converter is pulled out of the front of the pump. We pulled this catalytic converter off of the left side. There, he took the transfer case off, that's obvious. Rear cross member came out. Here's all the parts he took off before I even got here. Then I helped him by getting that bolt stuck behind the flywheel. So, I'm gonna finish taking this all the way out. I don't feel like getting my light out and everything, but I mean, you guys can see it's practically out now. I just gotta finish lowering it down out of there. So just wanted to give you guys a little tips video, show you it can be done in the car. All right, guys, I got it out. Somebody already put a junkyard unit in it. The seal looks like shit. Here's my torque converter set up. I know I have the whole tranny out and the torque converter still in there. You might not do it that way, but you can see I got a triple square socket in there and a 12mm wrench on the socket. I'm using a 27.5-inch drive here to turn the crank. I'm using an extension to push up there in between the fan and the ratchet to hold the ratchet onto the crank bolt. That's how I'm turning it. I'm doing my last one now. Once I get that loose with that 6-point ratchet, I use this 12mm short gear wrench. Alright, this is a torque converter bolt. You can see they ground the sides flat on 3 sides because they didn't know better, because they didn't want to put this bolt in first. If you line this bolt up first and put that one in first, all the rest of them will be perfectly centered, because it's a smaller hole. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. This is definitely a smaller hole than the rest of them. That's the small hole. So you always put the small hole in first, and then the other holes will line right up. All right, guys, here's proof I got it back in there. Got it all mated together, got all my converter bolts tight. So it's kind of a pain in the ass, but I got it in there on this Porsche. Hope this is helpful. All right, guys, on that catalytic converter up there, that top right bolt, I ended up air hammering that nut loose and then taking it off with my fingers. And the top left one, I went over the top to get on it. They're not easy, so however you can get the bolts off, get them off. All right, guys, I'm going in with the exhaust. The only thing I really had to do to get it out was to loosen or take the rack bolts out and then move it to the left side a little bit. and I was able to jam it up in this hole where it goes. I took the O2 sensors out because you'll end up damaging them if you don't, so I took them out. But it's up in there. I can see the bolts easier with the O2 out as well. Sorry I'm not showing you guys the whole video, but there's not enough beeps in the world to censor all the cussing I've been doing. You guys don't want to do it, trust me. All right guys, I'm working on this Porsche again. Just want to show you some of the stuff I used to get it done. So I use this inspection camera to line the torque converter up. It's really quite a pain in the ass. It's one of the harder torque converters I've ever had to experience. So here's the socket I ended up using for the torque converter. I had somebody file it down for me so it started easier, but this is what I used. This is how long they need to be. I mean, if it's much shorter than that, there's a chance you could drop it in there and it gets stuck. I had one get stuck in between the flywheel and the motor, and I had to pull the unit with the converter still on the flywheel, as I showed you. So when I was putting them back in, this is what I used, but it's really hard still. So it's just quite the pain in the ass. So what I used was this and a 12mm wrench to tighten the torque converter. So good luck guys. I hope you don't run into one of these, but if you do, those are some of the things I went through and how I got it done. Hope this is helpful. If you enjoyed the video, got done with the Porsche Cayenne. I didn't quit my job over it. I did think about it, but I didn't, so that's good. I did get the job done. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stick a couple videos up over here. If you could check them out, I'd appreciate it. Hope this video is helpful. I included all the tricks I can think of. Go and hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support my channel. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps me out a lot. On to the next one.